Amy, I love Amy. We've done so much together and it means so much that you're here tonight. Thank you, Amy.
I'm really happy to be here. I'm so excited, and it's been my greatest joy to become not just not only have you become my right arm, but you've also become my friend. So yeah, I'm just here to honor and express my deep gratitude to you, Laura, for your irreplaceable leadership in advocating for immigrant justice in our state. So I work for the Massachusetts Immigrant and Refugee Advocacy Coalition, and I've had the incredible good fortune to work alongside Laura in the context of the Safe Communities Act campaign that began right after Trump was elected or inaugurated in 2017. And Laura emerged kind of first as a kind of gadfly member of the coalition, goading our leadership correctly to greater accountability to our immigrant base and chastising us when we failed to meet that goal. And then so and then later on that year, I mean, she wasn't central to the coalition at that point, but I remember we, 2-year sessions in the State House, right? And in the second year, the bill got killed by the Public Safety Committee. And I remember sitting in a small room with other exhausted advocates as we talked about ways to keep the bill alive and to see if we could keep it moving by adding it to the state budget. And somebody said, we've got to fight this thing, we've got to organize. And Laura's just like, she's also exhausted, but she's like, okay. She said, okay, and then proceeded to mobilize faith communities and other communities, eventually helping to organize 2,000 people to deluge, basically to occupy the State House for weeks and to help. And also the night of the Senate vote, we actually did win in the Senate that year in 2018. And she was there all day and all night helping whip Senate votes. For really the first victory of that campaign. And then when we introduced the bill a second time in 2019, I begged her to be part of the coalition leadership team. She made me beg. She said, but I'm just another white leader. No, it's not, I'm not representing immigrants, et cetera, et cetera. And I told her that, and this is true, no one's done more than Laura to ensure the engagement of our immigrant community, immigrant coalition member organizations. She makes sure that we have interpretation for all our meetings. She makes sure invitations are extended in Spanish and in Portuguese and in Haitian Creole, even when we don't ask for that. And she's one of those leaders who constantly steps aside to let others take the floor and to take the credit. She's not in it for herself. I've never met anyone who cared more or worked harder to amplify the voices and concerns of the people who are excluded from power. And she's also, as others have said, she's like the most responsive and best organizer I've ever known. She organized over 1,000 people at the last Safe Communities Act hearing in the dead of winter. And then, of course, last year helped get the bill recommended for passage by the committee. And even the pandemic couldn't stop her. She insisted on an outdoor rally in December for all the bills that the legislature failed to move on: Indigenous rights, on immigrant rights, climate change, the rights of prisoners, basically everything you could think of. And Laura, I'm just like, I'm so grateful for your vision. For your leadership over all these years. I'm really, really, really sad to lose you. I also don't think we're getting rid of you anytime soon. And so I'm just so grateful and full of love and wishing you all happiness in your next great adventure.